Ahead and start. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. I want to first address that our webinar today is discussing and having an in-depth conversation about the relationships that we have in our life. Everything that involves anything that we have a relationship to, we will be discussing today. I want to also make sure that everybody knows that we will be taking questions and some shares during the session. And I will be calling out your name. If you can please use the feature down below, you will see it on your screen. It's a raise hand feature. So when I will be calling out whoever wants to ask a question on that specific topic that we will be discussing, please do raise your hand and you will be unmuted during the course of the time that you're having the conversation with Dee. She will also be offering short coaching. And the last 30 minutes will be saved for full Q&A, especially for those of you that have received the handout with the questions. We will be happy to go into discussion on what was on the handouts, and that will be done with raise hand feature as well. So thank you, everybody. Welcome. My name is Marika Jinjinashvili. I'm with Astor Realty Capital. It's our private equity firm. I also founded Fabula Global, which is an exclusive investment specifically geared towards women, where we share and we grow and empower women in their finances. I wanted to also welcome Dee. Thank you, Dee, for being with us and for joining us during this time. I wanted to give a couple of words and introduction about Dee. She is a clinical psychologist and founder of Inner Healing Through the Arts, the Creative Encounter Program, The Gift and Listening with the Heart. She has integrated her unique background and training as a psychotherapist with over 35 years of experience to create a new integrative healing method for personal and spiritual development. This method integrates all psychological disciplines, and she offers in the therapeutic model an educational component to assist individuals in be aware and break free from unwanted behavior. So thank you, Dee, for joining us. I'd like to hear a little bit from you, and then we can begin.
Well, welcome everyone. Unfortunately, I can't see anybody. Is there a way that I could see the people that are on? Let me look. No, I can't see them. Okay. So welcome everyone. I can't see you, and I know that there are a lot of you that are on that I know personally. And I welcome you to this particular conversation. I want you to feel safe and open to whatever you want to have this conversation about. When we ask you, do you want to share something? Do you want to ask a question? Or do you want coaching on something? So it's my pleasure to be with you. So thank you.
Yeah. I want to make sure that this is going to be an interactive experience for everyone. So that is the reason we're taking questions during our time. So Dee, on the topic of what we're speaking about today, which is, relationship to everything that we have in our life, I want to first address what would be the key element to creating a powerful relationships in our lives. What's the main thing?
Well, when we think about relationships, usually we think of people or things outside of ourselves. But the fundamental relationship is your relationship to yourself. And we don't spend a lot of time looking at that relationship. And that relationship is filled up with a network of conversations that you inherited. So oftentimes in each area of life, whether it's your finances or your love relationships or parenting or whatever it is, or about finances, you inherited already a script of what it's going to look like. And we don't explore ourselves enough to look at, oh, I'm I'm just carrying over certain patterns of behavior that were given to me either by my parents, my culture, my race, my nationality, my being a female or being a male. And we are just carrying forward that story, that history, and the little ways of being that come out of that story. And unless we're willing to really look, we're going to keep repeating it over and over. So we're living like maybe like what we inherited, never looked at. So you're just carrying over that way of being. And then we wonder, why is this relationship to whatever, to your business, is not working? Because you keep carrying over that same pattern of behavior. And unless you're willing to look and really see yourself, because you are the common denominator in every area of life. So you have to be willing to explore yourself without judgment, but as if you're going in to observe this person called you, that you call yourself, and you're going to observe, look at me, how I do that. Look at me, how I do this. And then it's going to take exploring and looking at that that's only possible you that you could be, because you could create other ways of being.
Thank you. You know, that's very interesting because it's one area that most of us probably don't even think that that's where it comes from. You know, when we think that whatever our reactions or however our life is, it doesn't come from me first. It's almost like we look at life and how it happens, that it's the external that affects us here, and we don't really look like where is that reaction coming from? Where are these thoughts and these questions or fears, where are they coming from? Where let me look and discover about myself. So I want to take a moment to be able to, you know, grab at least two people to ask question on this specific topic on the beginning part, the relationship that we have to ourselves and how we carry things over. So I want to give an opportunity to two people, and if you can please use the feature of raise hand, and you will be unmuted. So just two of you to come in and ask a question, or just want to understand something a little bit better from what Dee just spoke about. Let me see. Let's take Elizabeth Ramos.
Where is she? Hi, Elizabeth. Can
Hi,
I see?
Dee.
I can't see you, right?
No, you can't see me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sure.
Awesome. It's great to see you.
Thank you.
Awesome. So just piggybacking on what you said, you know, this has been a interesting time for a lot of us. I'm a business owner myself. And just in the last 6 months, life has changed in dramatic ways. So I've been through coaching with you previously, and it's been life changing. So I just kind of wanted you to walk me through the insight of like reevaluating yourself and kind of looking at yourself from where you are now. And I mean, just so many things have changed in the last couple months, and I'm not, you know, I don't want to put blame on anything. You know, life is taking a turn on a global scale. So I continue to evaluate who I am, the decisions I've made, the companies I've built, and now that, you know, that company is in disarray, for lack of a better term, because I've lost so much money in contracts. I'm, in my entrepreneurship, I'm starting another business, kind of COVID related. But can you just kind of speak through where we should focus now? I mean, I know the focus is always internally and the focus is always, within ourselves. But can you provide some coaching to
Well,
kind of speak into like what's next for a lot of people?
yeah, well, uh, it's an interesting time because we're living in uncertainty.
Yeah.
Everything has been turned upside down, right?
Yes.
And as human beings, we don't like that. And yet we live in uncertainty because there's nothing certain. But we equate predictability, like I know I have a business, I know I'm going to book these people, I know that people go to restaurants, I know that people, we kind of had a predictable external life, right?
Right.
But what's interesting now, when it's all turned upside down, is where are you? What's happening to you, Elizabeth, right now? What, where, where are you standing about what's happening? You know what I mean? Like, what do
Right.
you, yeah, so where are you?
Well, I've been through many different phases. So in the beginning, February, March, I went through, I was somewhat catatonic because I just couldn't believe everything that was happening. And then I've been through different stages. I've been through anger, I've been through frustration, I've been through a lack of, just I've been living in uncertainty. And then, on the other side of that, I've figured out how to kind of redevelop myself, but I'm still in a phase of, oh my gosh, like there's a little bit of shock. There's a little bit of like, just shock and having to kind of pick up the pieces and like, where do I go from here? So I've been through like a myriad of emotions. Yeah.
You got it, Elizabeth, and it's understandable. And here's the thing, we naturally will go through different emotions, and it really triggers back to how safe we felt even as children, when
much.
things happened. And when things, for some of us who had difficult childhoods, things stir up, we start feeling not able, or oh my gosh, what's going to happen? What am I going to do? So what I would suggest is that the sooner that you can be with your business the way it is, the way it is. See, the way it is the way it is, and you have a reaction to it, many reactions. You may not like it, but you have to sit with what it is and then take whatever action you want. That's going to simplify it for you, because otherwise you're going to stay in internal feelings, emotions, all kinds of states of mind, and they're going to paralyze you, because all there is what's happening, whether we like it or not. So you've got to be with what's happening in your business and take an action with it.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, Dee. And thank you for saying that, because I would say, even aside from my business, I just have to be with what is with me right now and just take actionable steps and just going forward, right? Because it's like it is what it is, and you have to live through it regardless. So
yeah, and
kind of taking away from my business, just where I am. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be with where you're at.
Yeah.
And you're going to have emotions and feelings and thoughts, and you want to blame somebody. But all of that, which while it's human, is not going to help you move forward. So that's what I would say to that. Can you see that? Thank you.
I can. Thank you very much, Dee.
Yeah, and just as an aside, one thing we have to remember is that there is no life out there like a life. you make choices, decisions, or whatever you do moment by moment by moment by moment. Life happens now, 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 now. And you got to keep that present, because we tend to go into generalities every moment. What are you going to do with that moment, with that time? Okay? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So just a small takeaway from that, it's basically, you know, realizing that life always happens and things always come up, and what gets in the way of us actually taking action and being in creation is all these thoughts and all these emotions that come up. It kind of like blinds you from the actions that we need to take.
Yeah.
Where, you know, like, okay, so this is what's happening, and not give it any meaning, just address, okay, this is what's happening, what do I want to do about that, where do I want to take it, what do I need to do in order to get there. And our focus usually shifts from that to, oh my God, and how can this be happening, and you know, we go into all these different places in our mind that kind of like stops you moving forward.
Right.
I also have a question from one of our panelists, from Maya. She asks, what is the most important thing for a long and happy relationship between couple?
Oh, that's a great question, because
And we'll put Maya on live if you want to add any comments or any more questions towards that. Maya.
yeah, well, we can go into our relationship to love, to romantic love. So Maya, you have I'd love to see people, but this is kind of awkward because I can't see anybody. So Maya, all of us inherited a relationship. We inherited relationship to love, relationship to be a couple. We inherited, whether there's permission to love or not. There's an inherited way of being. So why don't you tell me what the actual issue is, Maya? Can she speak?
Yes, unmuted. Maya's unmuted.
Go ahead, Maya. Maya?
Okay, so I don't know, maybe.
So what was her initial question, just to give her something, is what was the initial question?
The initial question is just addressing the relationship, the importance of relationship between a couple, and is communication a main key for the best relationship between people in general?
Yes, the answer is yes. And why? Because if you cannot communicate, you're going to get stuck with what you perceive, what you think should be, could be, would be, and slowly but surely you'll create impenetrable walls to being connected. So yes, on the planet. And communication doesn't mean you agree on everything. It means you speak, you converse, and you try to resolve whatever conflict there is. Okay?
Yes, excellent. Thank you, Dee. And we'll take one more person, and then we're gonna move forward to the next topic. The next person will be Monica Vivas.
Monica.
Hi, Dee. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, Monica.
Okay. I wish that you could see us too, but I don't see the option here in the camera in my side, so but that's okay. So I have a question. When you start the webinar, you were mentioning, which is very important, of course, that the best way to have a good relationship with our partner, of course, is to look into the relationship we have with ourselves, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think that, how, for example, or what kind of advice you can give us you can give to us in this moment, actually, you know, in the present moment when all this chaos is happening. And I tell you that because, you know, I have been honestly affected. I try my best not to hear news, not to read newspapers related to that, because I have seen that it's affecting my mental health. And as being affecting my mental health, of course, it comes with like a tentacle of affecting my relationship with my kids, or the way that I communicate with them and my husband. So what kind of advice you can give us to kind of manage that part of, you
Well,
know what?
Monica, it has to be personal. There's lots of stuff happening in the world all the time. And in your life, particularly, just like Elizabeth, you may be affected financially, you may be affected emotionally, spiritually, however you're affected. It's going to happen. We're all affected. So what is it that is affecting you in a particular way? What's happening with you, Monica?
Oh, okay. So it's like what is triggering me from that situation. I understand. Okay. Yeah, I need to look into that. Yeah. Okay.
So what?
It could be fear, you know.
What are you afraid of?
Oh, so many things, you know. For example, one of the fears is exactly that. I am afraid of that fear that I believe somehow that they are putting on us, like, for example, with all this sickness of the coronavirus. Because honestly, I tell you something, I feel that that fact that they are coarting our freedom, the fact that I am locking down, that I
Yeah.
know that is affecting also my body. You know, we humans so used to be free, and our body needs the environment, the air. So
I got it.
That part of
I got it.
it's like I feel that kind of brainwashes, and it's something that I'm resisting because I can't accept something like that. The world have been living with viruses all their life, and people die from them. Some people don't. So our body is perfectly created for fighting anything, and that is one of the fears. That is one of the main ones that I have.
Okay. Okay. So you have, like a lot of people, we have opinions, right? Opinions, point of view, and everybody has one. Some of us have the same one. But is it helping you to deal with life? Because however it is that way. You know, there's been a quarantine. This is what's happened. People are a certain way. People have gotten sick. And that's what's happening. And what we tend to do, Monica, is resist what's happening. And you know what suffering is? Suffering is when you're resisting what is. That doesn't mean you can't do something about it. You can try to do something about it, but otherwise you'll suffer when we resist the way it is, because it is the way it is.
I understand perfectly.
You know, we may not like it, but it is the way it is.
I understand.
And we then live in, why is it this way? Who did it this way? Why I have this opinion, I believe, I do that. And it makes no difference whatsoever. So are you safe, Monica? Are you safe personally right now? You're safe?
Yes, absolutely.
Right, because the brain takes us, you know, maybe into our past when you felt that you weren't allowed to be free, or others weren't allowed to be free. And then we get into these, what I call these tunnels. You know, we go into the tunnels.
Like, yes.
Yeah. And you got to bring yourself back to right here where you are.
Okay.
And
Well,
you look very vibrant and alive to me. So,
thank you.
so thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I completely understand. I like what you say. Suffering is when you are resisting the way it is. I took note of that one.
Thanks. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. By the way, everyone, I just wanted to mention we have put together the video, so you are going to be able to be viewed when you're speaking. So just put that note in for moving forward. Okay, excellent. So I'm happy that we were able to address certain topics. I think a lot of people have those kind of things on their mind, and it also addresses anything else. You know, it's not just the specific topic of, you know, what's happening right now, or it's about anything that comes up in our life. And that's really great point when you said, you know, like suffering comes in when we're resisting what actually is.
Yeah. So we're going to speak a little bit about your relationship to love. I wanted to.
Excellent, thank you. I want to speak about, now let's look at one of the most important relationships, you know, our relationship to love. We think we will have our soulmate, or we have the need of love. Where does the ability of love come from? Why do people even go through, you know, love, or like the arguments, or what are the main struggles in a relationship? So I just want to address, where does the ability of love itself come from?
Well, I always say that love, you have an ability to love or not. It's like a faucet. There's a faucet, right? And some of us have a little drip in the faucet to love. And we only open the faucet if it's somebody that is nice to us, or we like them, but love is, you have love. Unfortunately, a lot of the love that we have is withheld. And the love that's withheld creates a lot of disease, lack of ease in the body, mind, and spirit. So you have to look at that for yourself. How much, when do I contract my love? When do I take it away? When am I not willing to be loving? Am I only loving in certain occasions? And as far as the relationship to love, we inherit from our parents or from people that were surrounding our family a relationship to being loved and to love back. And then we go through life and we have experiences. And in our experiences, we either build up more resistance to loving because we feel unsafe, it's not okay, I'm going to be rejected or whatever. So we hold all this energy called love, we hold it. And it's really, really treacherous. It's really, it's like an energy that's withheld. And part of the work to be done is for all of us who are interested to do work on yourself, whether you do a training program, or you are in a therapeutic process, or you are in any kind of environment where you are looking at the self, because I think one of the most difficult things that happens to human beings is that we withhold our love. It's like we're waiting for one day when something is ideal. So in relationship to others in love, we either idealize a man or a woman. He should be this way, that way, and that other way. And we have no room for flaws. You know, it's not our similarities that are the difficulty. What's our difficulty is when we have differences. And in any relationship in your life, the biggest thing is to be able to overcome our differences and to embrace others in their differences and embrace yourself. But we have such judgment on ourselves, like, I should be this way. Why am I this way? Because you inherited that. You're supposed to be a person that, you know, you should look a certain way. You shouldn't look a certain way. You should be this way. And we live trapped inside of that. So then we withhold our love. Some of us never allow ourselves to fully love. So, or we are in relationships according to what we inherited, and we keep finding people that are blocked to loving us, but we hang in there because we're reliving some form of our childhood. And we have to look. It's all about looking at yourself. So, does anybody want to share something?
That's very interesting. I just want to bring it back a little bit from and in a minute we'll go to Frank, but let me just add something. So I just want to bring it back from when you were speaking about in the beginning, you know, how you know, most of us will think, okay, you know, love is something I either give or receive, and something that a lot of us don't look into is the inherited understanding of love and how it plays out in our life, and how we, because what we inherited and how we view love and the relationships, we kind of also, you know, impose that on our children because they learn that from us too. And we have to realize, like, wow, you know, my inherited understanding of love, now I'm transferring it to my children.
Mm-hmm.
Like creating a new beautiful space and not bringing this impact of what happened before or what was missing that you need to fill in and find in your partner or find somewhere outside of yourself. So, you know, I want to like make sure to be able to stay on that focus and on that track. And I'll take a question from Frank Spalding Bay.
Hi, Frank.
Hey, how you doing, Dee? Good.
Hi.
So I'm listening to.
I lost Frank. Where's Frank? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just
There
opened up
you
the
are.
video.
There you are, Frank.
How you doing?
Good.
Yeah. So I'm listening to the discussion, and you know, didn't really know what we're going to be discussing, but you know, some of these distinctions are distinctions that I'm familiar with because, you know, I've done some transformational education through Landmark. And when I heard the last statement about love, and this is something that I've been, you know, looking at for myself, you know, coming from a family where I lost my dad when I was 7. And for me, my father is absolutely like a major figure for me. You know, I'm named after him. I'm his last child. I look like him the most. And he was pretty successful in business. And so moving forward, you know, I have other siblings who are of different mothers and they have experienced success. And I used to always walk with a certain understanding like, wow, you know, why are we not more closer to one another? Why are we not more for one another? Why are we not more united? And I have reached out on a lot of levels to bring about that. But of course, it happens to the degree that it happens, and it may have not occurred to a degree that I'm not satisfied with. So the looking that I've been able to do is to realize, well, you know, I'm responsible for me, and I have to love me. And what is the vision that I have for me? And is that vision of love and self-expression going to be dependent upon what I think it should look like based on the family that I'm from? Or is it going to be based on what I genuinely want to create for myself and what's going to make me happy and sustained? You know, so on that level, you know, I personally devoid myself of, you know, any of the experiences, any of the things that I've heard growing up, you know, pertaining to what individuals felt my life should have been or what it should look like. You know, basically stripping it down, taking it to ground zero and saying, all right, I have this empty space. I realize why I've been having this internal conversation. I get where it's coming from. But now,
Okay,
I've
I'm
lived
going to
long enough.
stop you. I'm going to
Go ahead.
stop you, Frank. I get everything that you're saying. You
Mhm.
know, I'm hearing that you have wanted the family to be more united, everybody more united. And somehow you have tried to create that, and it hasn't happened to your satisfaction.
Right.
And so, do you express your love no matter how they are? Or are you expressing your love only if they are a certain way? You see, that's what happens. We withhold our love because somebody is not looking the way we think they should be. And so then we judge and we withhold our love. I'm asking.
Well, I've definitely been one to say, well, you know what, if you're not gonna, you know, express love the way I feel to express love, then I'm not even gonna bother. But
That's
the thing
right.
But the thing that I realized moving forward is that I just have to be loved regardless. And, you know, you stand for people and you hope for the best. And, you know, it may not happen, but in the interim, I can't lose time not loving myself and not
Right.
creating the possibilities that I want for myself.
Yeah, no, it's not either or.
Right.
We're talking about that faucet of the love energy that is within you. Are you, it's like finding the freedom to express it, no matter how others look. Otherwise, you're withholding it. I'm just saying.
Nah. You know what? I've grown to the point where I'm not going to withhold it because I understand myself better, and I understand, you know, conversations that I've heard, you know, stories that I've believed, and you know, and I've been able to debunk a lot of that. So,
Good.
yeah, I mean, I've become open to the possibility of being loved regardless. But
Yeah.
however, you know, even though in the process of trying to stand for certain possibilities, I'm not gonna allow it to not, you know, continue to focus on myself, to love me first and foremost.
And what would that look like, Frank?
Well, what that would look like for me is, in a lot of instances, burying a lot of the stories that I've heard and have actually made real.
Great. Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So, anybody else?
We do have one more person. I want to also just address real quick, just what from you, Dee, what is the definition of love? What would you say is, you know, how can we encapsulate the word love?
Well, I mean, I think everybody on this call could look for themselves because it's a very subjective definition. I have my own definition. I think that when I love, I am about, I'm just open. I'm open. I'm giving. I'm just being right there in the moment, being with somebody or something. You could love the beautiful sunset. You feel and you behold something, you know, the love of self. We say it a lot, but meanwhile, we keep judging ourselves. So you could say love is the absence of judgment. If there's no judgment in the world, we would just be. And if we were just being, we would be open to each other. I don't know what that would look like. Mm-hmm. But we inherited ways that we should be, and when we don't fall into the way we should be or others should be, we judge them, and that's the state of the planet. Constant. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Why am I doing this? Why are you doing that? So I think I would leave that definition to each individual person, you know.
Thank you. We have a quick question. Okay. Let's take Delia Pan.
Hi. Hi, Delia.
Hey, sorry, Dee, this is Yang.
Yang. Hi, Yang. How lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you too. I just wanted to hop up and tell you how grateful I am. You have really transformed my life with your unconditional love and coaching. And hearing you on this webinar talking about love, it's also helping me to have some epiphany and breakthrough moment, especially when you say that we withhold our love and waiting for that person to come along, and also we repeat some form of our childhood in our relationship. And what comes up for me is I definitely can resonate with what you are talking about based on so many coaching sessions that you and I had together.
Yeah.
About expectation for partners. And what I notice myself is when in friendships, I can be very unconditional, very giving, just like what you said, without judgment. And when it comes to romantic relationship, the dynamic kind of shift a little bit, like the bar all of a sudden becomes so high of expectation, and like what you said, it's very difficult for me to embrace the other person's different. And one thing you said that stick with me is when in a relationship, it's two brain walking together, but we have an expectation that we just operate under one brain.
That's right. No, it's so beautiful because we do it unconsciously.
Yeah.
We think like, why didn't you think like me? Or if a person's upset, we go, why are you upset? I'm not upset. So we should all walk around with one brain instead of individualized. And there's where communication comes in, because otherwise your expectation, which we have all of them, we constantly have expectations, then we don't, because we're so much about ourselves, Ying, that we're not really being in other people's world. We
Right.
don't pay attention. We don't pay attention to either what we call red flags, and then afterwards we start blaming people. because we weren't paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely there are a lot of oversights on, sometimes not like what you always told me, it's not red flag, it's things that don't work for me, and I wasn't being straight about it. And that eventually will backburn whatever the relationship is. So
I'm glad you mentioned that, because when people say, I need to take care of myself or love myself, it's not like because, you know, you exercise or eat a certain way, that is a good care. But really, it happens moment by moment. When we're not paying attention, we're not taking care of ourselves. When we're not paying attention to others, we're not taking care of ourselves.
wow, I
You know,
never thought about
yeah.
that. Yeah.
And that has become very clear with this pandemic, because whether we like it or not, and I don't particularly like it, wearing a mask doesn't feel good. But it's not just about me. And we are not used to living when it's just not about me, you
Yeah.
know? And we're not listening. We go with our brain into relationships to look, do I like this? Do I not? With no room sometimes for our differences. And our differences are really, really important. Our differences can weave a web of fantastic outcomes.
Yeah.
We're afraid of our differences. Thank you, Ying.
Thank you, Dee. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Excellent.
Okay, next.
So now I want to move on. And you know, those of you,
Yes, Ivana.
you have
Ivana said something. So yes, you're very good, Ivana.
I know that the rest of you have questions. So once we hit 6 o'clock, we'll be able to address more additional questions. I just want to make sure that we move on to our next topic of discussion before we go into any more questions. And the next topic would be, how does our relationship to ourselves show up in how we are in business? You know, in business, we follow similar patterns. You know, we worry too much. We have different fears. Am I good enough? Am I doing something enough or not enough? How does this all work out with our relationship in business areas?
Well, you've got to spend time looking at your behavior. How are you with regard to money, to finances? Are you like, it's going to be okay, I'm going to create something no matter what? Or do you go into scarcity and fear? So in business, like with Elizabeth in the beginning, she was sharing, right now people are having a difficult time with their particular businesses. So how does all this work? It's your attitude and who you be in front of any circumstance that's in life. How are you going to deal with that? And if you haven't done a lot of exploration of yourself, the automatics ways are going to come from your past, how you learned to be. Maybe you don't ask questions at work. You don't ask for what you need. You become a victim of the people you work for. You think that if I'm quiet and I don't ask for much, then they're going to recognize me. And when you're not recognized, you get resentful. You know, it's how you learned to be, and you can overcome the ways you've learned to be. That's what looking at yourself will give you, the freedom to find new ways to be. But you first have to look at how we proceed in life. Most individuals, whether business or not, unless you had a background of great flow and success from your parents, your family, and business, and it was flowing, or you're just very courageous, there's a flow there. It may not be a problem. But you have to look anywhere where you're living like a victim, you're carrying over old patterns of behavior, and you have to look at them.
What that's really interesting, you know, everything from hearing, you know, it sounds like everything is like, hey, look at your patterns, look at your patterns. So let's say, for example, you know, okay, I'm in that space right now, something's bothering me, something's coming up, I'm triggered, and now I'm in a space where I can notice that. So I'm looking at myself, okay, so this is bothering me, or I'll realize, okay, this is coming up from this part of my life. What next? You know, when
Well,
we're
you're speaking, Marika, which unfortunately, because of the time, this is a conversation where it's a generalized conversation, but it's, you got to go into specifics. Generalities is all in your head, conceptual. If you want to resolve something, you have to resolve it the way it is. You know, like, I have this business. I only have $100. I'm fearful that I'm not going to get any more money. Or I work for this person. I don't feel appreciated. What can I do? But we're in generalities. So it would be great if anybody on the call, and I know that we're just having a generalized conversation, but you have to get on in life.
address each thing specifically, basically.
Yeah, like what's happening?
That came up, you have to be more specific to, okay, what exactly is it, in order for us to address it and take action on it. You have
Yeah.
to hone in on what it is. So
So here's what happens. Human beings get triggered, right? We're triggered. Then we get upset. And then we're in the upset. And then we forget about what we're dealing with because we go into the tunnel of the upset. And whatever it is that's in front of us, I don't have any money, or my business folded, we sit there and be upset about it, or we worry. Worry is something we do, like it would make a difference. Worrying never made any difference. And being upset is just being upset. And it's a way of avoiding being responsible, meaning owning what's happening. If you don't have money, you don't have money. None of that reactionary way of being is going to do anything about money or your business or not having or your relationships to anybody.
Yeah.
So you got to look at the specifics. And if you don't know what action to take, then you look for people in your life that maybe professionally could support you to look, because you've got to look at yourself if you want to break free. Otherwise, you're just going to keep automatic.
yeah, I think you touched a really important part, just like in the beginning when we were talking, and then Monica raised a question, and you said to her, suffering is when you're resisting. And right now, there was another one that just, you know, you complaining about something is our way of rejecting taking responsibility. So that something that like really stood out to me right now, because most of us don't realize that that's what it is.
Yeah, we don't want to deal. I'm going to say it differently. You don't want to deal with the situation for whatever. Oh my God, I'm going to get rejected. I'm going to get this. So you'd rather not deal with what's really happening, so you'd rather go worry or talk to people or do something else, which is human, but it's not going to solve the problem.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to take a couple of questions on this topic. I see we have Sophie Matz.
Hi, Sophie.
Hi, Dee. This is wonderful, and thank you, Marika, for inviting me. Recognizing the story, I love that. And then in this pandemic, when we have been giving something for free, how do I transition to start charging for it again? I'm stuck there. I realize my story. I know where it comes from. Speaking of that.
Go ahead, Sophie. Look, there's only you shifting and charging, but you got some blockage there, like something you're saying to yourself about charging. Yes. What are you saying to yourself?
I'm saying to myself that that's my way of giving to my community, that's my way of sharing, that is part of my, I don't know, tithing, my sharing, my giving, right?
Okay.
So that's my blockage there.
No, there's no blockage, Sophie. It's like this. You're saying that it's giving and sharing and tithing to your community. Now, you could keep doing that, or you could charge for whatever you do, or you could vary it, like do some tithing and then do some charging. It's all up to you. There's no right or wrong about it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, both of you.
I wanted to also, Maya wasn't able to speak before and she put up another question.
Oh, good, Maya.
We'll try again this time to see if you're able to speak and you can address the question that you had with the.
Hi, Maya. Can she speak? She's on mute. You're on mute, Maya. Unmute yourself.
Is it working?
I think she unmuted herself. Maya, you want to say something?
Okay.
No.
We'll go to Michelle Berger.
Oh, Michelle, where are you? Can I see you? Where are you, Michelle? Michelle? There she is. Yes. Where are you, Michelle?
I think you might have answered this question. Hi. It was really, can you love if you don't love yourself?
Sure. You just don't love yourself.
But then doesn't that limit how you love others if you're not fully loving yourselves?
No, not really. There are people that are very loving to animals. They're loving to many people, but they don't take time to really look at themselves. And some people are not very caring about their health or their bodies or their mind or their spirit. They have a faucet that opens up in certain circumstances. It all comes from you. How you love, who you love, what you love, when do you stop loving, why you stop loving, who you choose to love, what you choose to love, all comes from over here. It doesn't come because you meet somebody and they are responsible for your love. You are responsible for your love. You are the one that loves or not. Sometimes we just don't love. It's not bad. So what do you think about that? What's the question for you?
That my question is that I have a really hard time loving myself. I'm really hard on myself. And that I go about living with that lens. So because I'm hard on myself and have a hard time completely loving myself, that's how I go about in my relationships.
Okay. So are you saying that in your relationships, you don't express your love? In all your relationships?
Not all.
There you go. Yeah.
I think it's also tied into vulnerability and trust.
Mm-hmm. And what is trust? That's another great topic. Trust. We think trust is also out here. I found somebody to trust. You find somebody to trust until they do something you don't like. Then you don't trust them anymore because we are not used to resolving conflict. So what happens is when they do something you don't like, now you're withholding.
Yes.
I bet some people would say you're a very loving person, very caring. And we all express it in different ways. Some people express it with a lot of hugs and kisses and warmth and being there. Some people express it differently. So that you're judgmental, like the rest of us, when we judge anything or anyone, we separate. Judgment equals separation because I'm finding fault in myself or in you. It doesn't create unity. It creates separation.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I know. You get that. Thank you, Michelle. Okay, are we going to go into the questions?
Just one more. We had one outstanding question. So Maya posted it because she wasn't able to speak. Maybe she's having a hard time to connect. Her question was, what comes first, love or respect?
Well, I don't think one comes before the other. They are distinct. Since life happens moment by moment, there are moments when you don't respect something about somebody and you may love them, but respect is the cornerstone to love, because if you don't respect somebody or they don't respect you, it's very difficult to join. So you're not joining. So I think they're distinct, Maya. If you can love somebody very much, but you don't respect how they live their lives or who they are, and that maybe you can still love them from afar, but if there's a lack of respect, it's very difficult to live together. I don't know if that makes sense to her because she can't talk.
Thank you, Dee. And just one more thing I wanted to address. You know, within all these different areas of relationship, whether it's love or business and work, you know, there oftentimes a lot of the struggles come up. Where would you say, or how can we be able to overcome that struggle in a powerful way in order to transform and have growth?
Okay. Um, okay. Here are the ways. You can call it change, you can call it growth, you can call it whatever. First step, look deeply into yourself. Do work with someone or do trainings or whatever will have you really look at yourself. Number two, if you have a goal, you see why I'm saying this is because anything you want to create in life, unless it's in tune with what you inherited. See, whatever you inherited from your parents or your culture comes easily to you, even if it's destructive. It's not, it's automatic. But if you want to create outside that box, it requires you having a focus. And it's very difficult to keep your eye on a target when you will have internal dialogue that you listen to, this chatter. And most of us, the chatter that we have, we believe the chatter is the truth. And until you can work at realizing that the chatter is just chatter and that whatever you put your mind to, you can possibly create. But what happens to people is we get sidetracked by our dialogue with ourselves. Oh, you're never going to have that. It's too much. You're not smart enough, or it'll never work out. And you got to look at all of that. Otherwise, you'll keep doing the same thing. Okay.
Got it. So thank you for that, Dee. And now I want to go to the handout. All of you got the handout in the email. The handout was creating powerful relationships in life, and there was a couple of questions over there for us to address and take a look at for ourselves. And I want to be able to answer some questions, or even if somebody has something to share from what they've grown from, or something that they want to share with everyone else, you know, I'll be taking those as well. So if you can use the raise hand feature again. And while the questions are coming in, and while some of you will step up, I'll read through some of the questions and the topics that we addressed. So one of them was, look at the relationship you have with yourself. Do you care for yourself? Do you listen to your needs? Do you judge yourself often? And by the way, everyone, the questions and the whole handout was right now posted in the chat, so you can read through that there as well. So that was from question one. Look at your relationship, and do you give yourself permission to have fun? I wanted to know if anybody has any questions from that.
Or anything to share.
Anything to share. So for now, I'll just move forward because nobody raised their hand yet. When you are with friends and family, are you authentic and real? Or do you pretend to be the way that is expected of you? How would we address that, Dee? You know, that's a great question. You know, when we're around anyone, when we're around business colleagues, even, you know, a lot of times you go to a meeting and sometimes we feel like we can't be ourselves, or we're going to hold ourselves back from saying what it is that we really want. So how do we discover what there is, and how can we improve ourselves, you know?
Well, it's all learning, because you have to respect other people's views. And so that doesn't mean that you have to accept other people's views and not ask questions or express your own view, you know, because we're afraid. We're afraid to look bad, or we're afraid to be criticized. So oftentimes we don't say anything. That all comes from childhood.
Okay.
Monica Rivas says something. Can you read it?
Yeah, that wasn't a question. She was just asking for the handout. She said she got it.
Okay.
So it's okay. We're gonna have Laura help us with that.
So are we authentic?
Yeah.
You know, people live together for years, some people, and they never ever really know each other because they're never intimate. That means I don't reveal who I am to you, or what matters to me, or what's there. We're living lives of pretending.
Yeah.
And we do that with our children. You know, maybe you're having a rough time, but you have this idea that I can't express my vulnerability. So I've got to be tough. I got to be this way. I got to be that way. And we don't open our hearts. We hold in the love and our expression. And that, I think, is more responsible for disease, you know, whatever ails you in your body, because we're not expressing.
Yeah. And a lot of times the lack of expression comes from fear of judgment, looking good, looking bad.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to be rejected. Yeah. You're not going to be wanted. It's human. It's all over.
And I want to also just address how do you, you know, when you say we have to be authentic and communicate with, you know, whether it's business or loved ones or our children, what would you recommend for everyone that's listening? You know, okay, I want to be authentic, but I'm not able to fully express what I want to say without hurting your feelings or whatever might come up in the way. And I know it has to be more general, more specific. And, you know, of course, we could have somebody ask a more specific question or share something. But just I'm keeping it general just for everyone's sake. What would you say would be the best way to go towards that route, to learn to start being open, sharing our love, expressing ourselves, communicating more openly without fear of judgment?
Well, it will take you a great deal of work to deprogram what you're already programmed. So it takes wanting to create that freedom. And you can't do it by yourself. You have to do it with coaches or therapists or people that can guide you to open and find your own voice. So otherwise, for the most part, we will keep being a certain way, the way we were programmed to be and what we programmed ourselves to be out of our life experiences. And if we don't do anything about it, undoubtedly we will continue to do the same thing. If we look at our lives, we notice that we did the same things over and over again. Some of them were great, but some not. So it takes actually being aware. And the first person to really be aware is aware of yourself. Oh, look at me, I just did that. Oh, look at me, I pretended. Oh, look at me, but not judge it, just be with it. Like you're like you're looking at an insect and you're going, oh, look, it has feet. Or it look not like, oh, it's ugly or pretty or this, but just be with yourself. And that's very difficult because we're programmed to judge ourselves.
Right.
We didn't judge ourselves until we started going to school and people said, why are you saying that? That's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to take time and practice.
Absolutely. I can definitely agree to that, you know, just from taking some coaching from you and doing a lot of self-development and growth. I have personally realized the huge impact it's made on my life and everybody around. I can definitely attest to that. So the next thing, and by the way, guys, you know, please feel free. This is a great opportunity to step in and ask any question, whatever may come up for you along the way. So just use the raise hand option, and we'll call you out. Another thing I wanted to read from the handout is, how do you deal with intimacy and love? Do you feel free to express yourself or constantly work on being cautious so as to not disappoint your partner?
Well, that's a question. I got one, but questions are different. What did Monica say?
Oh, we sent her the new.
Oh, okay.
handout.
Well, that's something somebody's got to answer. If somebody would like to look at it with me, they could, you know, raise their hand and come and look at how they deal with intimacy and love.
So I have one from Ivana Castano, and she asked, why are we so worried about judgment?
Because it doesn't feel good. Because when we were little, judgment about anything, why are you wearing that dress? Why are you looking at it? It's kind of like dismissing you. And so we close up. The human spirit closes up. But we live in judgment of ourselves and others. And it's something that, you know, there's a difference between the word discerning, where you're looking at things, discerning, and judging is, this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong, this should be, this shouldn't be, why are you this, you know. We live in a world of wrong. You got the wrong hair, the wrong eyebrows, the wrong feet, the wrong body, the wrong eyelashes, you know. And so you're always trying to be on the good side because the good side feels better. So you'll turn yourself into a pretzel or anything just to get clap, clap, you're good. So you never find who you are there because you want to avoid anything that looks like you're not okay.
Yeah. And I think also the importance is, what happens is we will come into a place where there's either judgment, where really what we need to put in that place of, like, instead of the worry, is to actually be self-expressed and say what it is that we need, instead of judging something. it really comes from something that you haven't expressed, or you want to say where it's coming from, but you're not expressing that. So you're judging something and making it wrong instead of addressing like, okay, hey, this is what created that trigger. This is what I need. So
That's right.
like you said, being responsible with ourselves. So I have a question from Jeannie Chunk.
Hi, Jeannie. Hi, Jeannie.
How you doing?
I can't see you. There you are.
Can you see me?
Yeah,
Okay, hang on. Okay.
There you are.
Thank you so much for this. I'm so heartfelt, all this question and answers. Wow, so great. My question is relationship and intimacy that I have done, you know, especially in romantic relationship, that I withhold my feeling. I did everything wrong, like afraid of judgment, looking good, anything you can imagine. It's just full of stories. So I want to salvage a relationship that he have very limited communication. He is another person, like not express. It right now at the moment is shutting down. So very limited communication. So how do I invite a person so close? He used to open up, you know, fully showing love, but he never expressed what he need. And he treat me like a queen. I take advantage of it, but at the same time, I'm full of fear as well. So
Wait, I gotta stop you.
yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about him?
I really like him.
Good. Okay.
I like him because he give me something specific that I never experienced before.
And what is that?
With the when I'm close to him, I really feel the closeness, the warmth, right? It's not spoken, but I can feel. I know we can feel each other, but we don't exchange that. I don't.
You don't exchange what? The closeness?
I had a problem. I don't compliment him. I don't acknowledge him. So
Why?
I kind of do
Why?
it in an expectant way.
You
I
see,
feel like,
yeah. You have to look at why you became this way. You've had experiences in your life, and you come from a culture, and you come from a background, and all of us as humans are afraid to open ourselves, right? I say intimacy is into me, see me. That's the intimacy. It's opening yourself to yourself and to another. So why are you afraid to be?
Oh, good question. I discover that I remember incidents that I withhold myself. I solve my problems. And we come to the point that when I express, I get into busted or anger because my mother doesn't listen to me. I don't want to blame my mother, but I've been behaving that way. So I don't normally talk about myself. I feel like I don't.
See, you want him to talk, but he has a past too, Jeannie. He has a past, and how he learned to be is some variation of being a human being according to his culture or his background. And you want him to talk. You have to start talking. You have to start acknowledging him. You have to open up. But what is it you're afraid of? He's not going to like what you say, or he's going to take advantage of you? What's going to happen?
So I feel that he probably treat everybody else that special. I'm not special.
Now you're talking. So you don't trust that you're special. That's your
Yeah.
ground. Yeah. And so if you find somebody that treats you special, you're going to be suspicious, like, well, he does that with everybody. I'm not special.
Right.
And then you'll be attracted to somebody that doesn't treat you special, so you can be right about the fact that you're not special. Because what we believe that we took from the past, we keep reliving it like a view of life. And you have to make yourself right. You're not special. And you got to look to where you discovered or you remember when you became that you weren't special. And you've been dragging it around for a long time. And it's not true. It's not true.
Right.
But so if somebody loves you or finds you special, you're going to push it away because the context of your life is, I'm not special. So you won't believe it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I guess I want to be, I have a very conflicting feeling is that I've been treated special, but I want to be the one, you know, like I'm the most special one. Does it make sense?
Well, you can only be the most special to one person, right? To
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Would that be enough, or do you want to be the most special in the whole world? That's never going to happen.
Oh, no. I'm not to that extent that I want to be special everywhere. No. It's only in an intimate relationship. I want to be the most special. So I always like, am I the most special one? Am I the most special one? Am I the most special one? So
do you ask him? Am I the most special one?
He did answer. I doubt that answer. I'm the one doubting it.
So it doesn't matter what he says. You got to get it, Jeannie. It doesn't matter because you won't accept it because you're still living inside that conversation. I'm not special. So you'll find holes in whatever anybody says. And until you can see where it comes from and let it go, you're going to keep operating from that same place.
Got it. Thank you so much.
By the way, you are special. You are.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. So here we are at the end of our talk. And I hope that what Marika and I created, even in this short period of time, has made some little difference in your thinking or exploring. And if you have any questions or would like to get in touch, I think Marika has all the information, right, Marika?
Yes, and I'm just gonna ask Laura if you can just post both of our emails for anybody that wants to reach to any of us. We'll post it here, and we'll also send a follow-up email with all of you following this call. And Dee, before we go, I wanted to ask you if you can just give us one takeaway, before everybody leaves. Just a closing statement.
Yeah. I would say the takeaway is no matter what you say to yourself, you were born whole, complete, and valuable. You're not on this earth for no reason. Make your life count. Let go of all that stuff about yourself and let yourself be free. That's what I leave you with. You matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dee, for joining us. And thank you all for participating and for being open and sharing yourselves with us. We hope you have a beautiful day. Hear from Astor and Pepela and from Dee as well. And we'll see you soon again. And please feel free to reach out to us and send us any questions or anything else that you might have.